Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Good morning.
TGIF.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's my favorite day of the week. Ayo, how are you this morning?
Favorite month of the year.
So today is extra special. And I also heard that Adefemi Akinsoya has implications outside. You know she's always represented. I always have to say. Rufy on fire, good morning. How are you this morning? Implications. Today is going to be a fun Friday at Arise News. I mean, we're going to have drinks and fun. But also want to continue to call for the nominations to honor Nigeria's resilient leaders, institutions, and brands, shaping democracy and innovation. You know, the board of editors at Arise, and this day, they have called out for that nomination. If we can just have that picture up, there it is. Nominations are expected to be submitted to Awards 2025 at thisdaylive.com, Awards 2025 at arise.tv. I mean, you said yesterday you're interested in the Young Leaders Award.
Yes.
And I said Woman of the Year. Did you have time to think about one person that you would go?
Is it tough?
Okay, two?
Okay. Yeah.
One.
Can you think about it?
All right, should I wait till Monday for that?
Now we'll reveal.
Yeah, you know it's okay. I mean, what I think also is just to charge the viewers to start to think about people that they think have made a change. I can come up with different names from the top of my head. Man of the Year, Aliko Dangote. I mean, you know, the list goes on. People that have really made changes in 2024. I think that we should charge our viewers to also think about that as well. Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. Many Nigerians on social media have continued to use the hashtag #FreeDele to demand for the immediate release of human rights advocate Dele Farotimi. The arrest of the activist over alleged defamation has also sparked public interest in Farotimi's book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, which has now become an Amazon bestseller, ranked #1 in elections and 555 among all books on the platform. The publication has also topped categories in general elections, political process, and political commentary with a 4.9-star customer rating. The book, which was published on July 2nd, explores how affluent Nigerians allegedly exploit the country's judicial system for personal gain. Well, hours after the Ekiti State Magistrate Court remanded Farotimi in prison, Roving Heights, a popular bookstore, reported its website had crashed due to unusual traffic and a spike in the demand for the book. I mean, I did go to Amazon.com and I did see bestseller. I also went to Roving Heights. I was also, I'm actually curious. And this is what this case has done now. It has now, ignited the conscience of a lot of Nigerians. They want to know what this book is all about. I mean, what are we saying here? Rufai, this story is huge. So many reactions have trailed the story. And, we've discussed at length about what has been going on. So I want to read some reactions from Nigerians. And, yesterday, Afa Babalola broke his silence on Farotimi's detention. And here is a tweet. He said that the book contained several defamatory statements that questioned his integrity and accused his law firm of unethical practices, including corrupting the judiciary. In response to that, Winston wrote, "It is not your place to say what is defamatory to you. It is the court's duty. You can't call it defamation simply because it hurts you. What if it's true? Dele has asked you to challenge him in court. Why not do so rather than kidnap him and hold him hostage with the police?" Damilare wrote, "Of course, we know the content of the book. The question is if the content could be challenged and proven wrong." Dele Farotimi already said it in an interview with Sheun that he is standing by everything he wrote in the book. Let this be challenged in the court of law. Well, Isaac wrote, "Are Afe Babalola is an easygoing lawyer, and if you have ever met this man, you would know that he is not the type to oppress the less privileged. He is a renowned philanthropist who has spent more than 7 decades upholding justice. I won't even begin to talk about the crucial role he played in helping recover our national funds. Then, one Rastafarian-looking author suddenly wakes up one day and attempts to tarnish the name that Are has dedicated his life to building. This is a low blow. Are only asks for a proof of the allegations, but the followers of one failed politician began a smear campaign against him on social media. Is that justice and fairness? Let's talk about justice for Are Afa Babalola. Well, another tweeter there responded to that tweet saying, just because you adore him doesn't make him infallible. Just because he engages in philanthropy doesn't make him a saint. Why can't he follow due process and persecute Dele Farotimi? I detest people who smear others. But the guy said he has his evidence, so the law should take its course transparently. You may not like Dele Farotimi, but he still has his rights. Those rights must be respected. Otherwise, we are no longer operating the rule of law, but the rule of the jungle. And talking about people supporting a failed politician, I guess those people include the Nigerian Bar Association, of which Afe Babalola is a member, Omoyele Sowore, and many other voices all across Nigeria and beyond. Please, let's be serious about building an equitable, just, and fair society for every one of us and our children. I mean, I guess that is the conversation out there, and that is quite apt. Transparency, due process is the call out there.
So a lot of people try to spin narrative. Anyway, Dele has said a lot of people will try to spin this narrative. So we're not surprised that we're seeing them. They are really beginning to come out now.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying Are Babalola should not, if he feels the fame, should not go about fighting for his rights.
And that is his right.
But the way they have gone about it has made what he's doing wrong. This same Are Babalola wrote many articles condemning the use of police to intimidate people in fight for defamation cases.
We have seen those
articles are beginning to pop up.
Yes, we have seen them.
So if Are Babalola has just gone to court and say, okay, court, take your action, that's just it. But this use of police and everything, and the fact that we have allegations of people hiding these charges all this while so that they'll be able to say he had not appeared in court all this while.
Yeah.
And as regards him telling his own part of the defamation story in his deposition, this story had come out like 2 days ago, and I had seen the full chapter of all the pages of what he wrote. In fact, I think he cited in over 10 or 15 pages in the book where where he claimed that Dele defamed him. And that's for the courts to decide. Part of his prayers is that the book should be withdrawn. But the book now that is circulating all over the world and everybody's getting it on Kindle and Amazon, where is he going to get the injunction to withdraw the book all over the world in a case if he gets what he wants? Most importantly, and let me make this very important point, as I said, there's this top American journalist that said something recently, an older man, that said when people defame you, the best thing to do is to keep silent.
Yeah.
Half of the people might not have even read about the defamation. Most people might not have even understood the defamation. It is when you now shine light on it, everybody is now reading. I can tell you that the book didn't get this adulation when nobody even report. Most people didn't even report it when Dele wrote the book. But today, it's worldwide. Yeah. So I'm not saying Afe does not have a right to change if he feels his right is being trampled upon. No. But once you now go to this forceful way, then you have lost me.
Yes.
It's the manner
I
in which
think that's
is
really
going
what
about
it is.
Because that's the main story.
Yeah.
As to the legal, sociological parts, I think I've spent the last 2 days commenting at length on all of this, beyond what is on social media, but about books. Now, the principle about books is that when you try to prohibit a book or you try to remove it, you make it more popular.
Yes.
As you said you were curious.
Yes.
You also went and looked for the book. So this is about curiosity about the book. But the sociology of books, banned books, prohibited books, books that are challenged, is that they suddenly become popular. In 1865, Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, there was objection to it. But today, Alice in Wonderland is one of the most famous books in literature. Ulysses by James Joyce was also prohibited at a time. In its own case, it was about obscenity. The same thing happened to Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence in 1922, when it was said that, the content was a bit too prurient for the 1920s society. But all these books became very popular.
Yeah.
A Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger was also, prohibited because they thought it was too explicit. Today, it's one of the major books in American literature. So this is how books turn out. When you try to restrict them, people will be curious. They will go and look for it. But the major battle is in the court of law. And we say that on both sides. Both parties involved in the dispute have their rights. But defamation is a very tricky thing. Because Dele Farotimi, we insist on justification. You don't know what evidence he has.
That's the
but
point.
that's for the court to decide.
Well, that's all right. Shall we now take reactions trailing the controversy surrounding the tax reform bill, as it were, from the National Assembly? Well, on Thursday, Senate President Goodwill Akpabio said that the National Assembly has not suspended legislative actions on the tax reform bill, contrary to the statement made by Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin, who on Wednesday, during plenary, directed the Committee of Finance on the tax reform bill to halt actions on the public hearing and other issues until there's a resolution.
It's on this note that the Committee on Finance that the bills have been referred to should halt action on public hearing and other issues until we resolve these issues.
All right, so, misrepresentation, they call it. We correctly reported the Deputy Senate President there. Well, Senate Leader Dele, while commenting on the issues, said that some media stations and media outlets, particularly Arise Television, misquoted the resolution of the upper house at Wednesday's plenary. Well, Akpabio, while reacting to the news, said that the Senate will not be bullied to suspend consideration of the proposed legislation and urged Nigerians not to listen to social media and not to listen to Arise TV.
The Senate will not be bullied. We are doing our work in the interest of Nigeria. You can't imagine what it means for multiplicity of taxes to be abrogated. You can't imagine what it means for people who earn less than the minimum wage or even minimum wage not to pay tax. So the exemptions are such that up to 100 million Nigerians will benefit from these tax reform bills. So let's not listen to social media. Let's not listen to Arise Television. And I hope they are well guided with the explanation of the Senate leader.
Confusion galore. Confusion. What is the meaning of the confusion there in the House?
As the Nigerians said it.
They definitely did bow to pressure, and we saw that. And there's nothing wrong with, people opposing the bill. They shouldn't be ashamed. They shouldn't worry. And it happens all the time. People, different administrations, always oppose issues. Back in 2019, Taiwo Oyedele, chairman of the Presidential Tax Reform Committee, opposed the proposed VAT increase by the then chairman of FIRS, Babatunde Fowler, who sought to raise VAT from 5% to between 7.25% and 8.75%. He put out a tweet which is now trending. Let me take Taiwo Oyedele's tweet. Then he wrote, contemplating an increase in VAT rate now is bad timing and inconsistent with current economic reality. And he tagged the National Assembly and the FIRS also back in 2019. Now President Tinubu also opposed the VAT increase during President Buhari's tenure. If you recall, during the 11th colloquium for his 67th birthday in 2019, Tinubu said an increase in VAT will reduce the purchasing power of Nigerian consumers and is capable of increasing hardship in the country.
Consumers' spending is slipping, and this is where I will stop and appeal to Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Vice President, and his team. Put a huge question mark on any increase on VAT, please. If we reduce the purchasing power of the people, we can further slow down the economy. Let's widen the tax net. Those who are not paying now, if it is inclusive of Bola Tinubu, let the nets get bigger and we take in more taxes, and that is what we must do in the country instead of additional layer of taxes.
All right. I mean, he's maintained it, but he says, widen the tax net at this point. But, you know, we see, like I said, you will always find opposition everywhere. At that time, the economy was bad. Now it's even worse. So you can understand why Nigerians are, you know, opposing, or some of the northern governors opposing this tax bill.
But let me say in defense of Mr. Taiwo Dele.
Yes.
He did say, and he put up the tweet, he quoted the tweet, another tweet he had done in 2019, saying, any increase in VAT rate without a registration threshold and zero rating of basic consumption will increase the burden on the poor and small and medium-sized enterprises. So he did say that if you're going to increase the VAT, you can't do it if you don't ensure that you protect the most vulnerable in society. That is what this tax bill does, and that is why we've pushed for noting the benefits of the tax. It's not just about the VAT increase, and to be honest, Oji, that's not even what the governors are agitating against. It is the derivation formula that is more, that is more of their
that
concern.
will make it more,
Yeah, so the truth is that he did, he did say that, but he qualified it by saying that if you're not going to, and in this current tax bill proposition, there's a zero VAT rate on certain consumption goods, on certain essential items, particularly for that where, you know, people on the lower income ladder would need to have access to food, drugs, you know, hospital equipment, a number of things like that. There's also an exemption of paying income tax by low-income earners and small businesses. So that was addressed in the proposal. So it's good to look at it holistically in defense of that.
All right. Real quickly. So the president, as he said there, people do change their minds. I mean, it's not a problem, but you have clarified that. The president is a very rich man. I think for tax transparency, the president should start by showing his tax returns over the years. Secondly, there's another part of this bill that I don't like, and I don't know why they put it in there. They said the president, that's in section 75, they said the president may, by order, exempt from income tax. The American president pays taxes. Why was our own president be exempt from income tax?
All right.
So these are pertinent things to look at.
contentions.
But all our political leaders, even
Yes.
the likes of Peter Obi, president, all of them should start by showing their tax returns.
All right. Well, all right. We'll take another story now. Well, the managing director of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Olubunmi Kuku, has warned security agencies to desist from extorting passengers at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Kuku spoke to heads of security agencies on Tuesday, saying that penalties for such actions will be stiff. Well, let's take a listen.
Investors are complaining, but I want to focus on ABSEC. You represent an agency and an organization. The way you engage and see what you bring home for us. I have another individual who said, I think I forwarded that to you. These were Chinese passengers that were flying through the terminal, and they said somebody gave them a gift, their necklace as a gift. I've also gotten feedback from ABSEC officers and customs saying that they're not collecting pension. So this is the way for them to generate or earn their pension. This has to stop. I also hear that agencies are giving returns to their bosses. So let's have frank conversations in here. The airport is no longer a place to come and make money. So if anybody in your organization is asking you to give returns, I'm saying the same to you. And to all of the other agencies here, better tell them you don't want to come here. Because the penalties are going to be stiff.
I must commend this woman. I mean, she is one action woman. I mean, you can't say that you have not experienced what do you bring come. When you come to Lagos Airport, what do you did? I hope you don't give anybody any money.
Just mellow.
Just mellow.
Once you know that you're journalist.
But you know, they are all doing great, especially also the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyam, who announced new measures to curb the menace of harassment of travelers by various government agencies, including the disbandment of the Security Joint Inspections Table to end corrupt practices and unnecessary delays of passengers at Nigerian terminals, especially during the Yuletide season. The minister made the announcement in a post on X on Thursday. His tweet reads, Yesterday, I approved some far-reaching measures by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, aimed at curbing the menace of harassment of travelers by various agencies of government stationed at our international airports. We have received too many complaints, and it is time to act decisively. I mean, I thought I had my producer pull up those measures that he had put out. There are about 8 of them. If we can have those measures up there, because I would love to read them out for our viewers to know what the Honorable Minister has put out.
Elimination of joint inspection tables, streamlined passenger processing, transparency search procedure.
Can you see them?
You know, arriving on a secondary real-time procedure. Enhanced lighting and signage, zero tolerance of misconduct, establishment of meet and greet areas, swift activation of mobile court, redefining agency roles.
Well done, thank you. And that was, I mean, those are amazing measures by Festus Keyamo. But also he needs to take into action the people living with disability. Because we do have a video here of a woman who's living with disability, Margaret Adeyinka, who accused Emirates Airlines of denying her the right to travel with her mobility scooter on a flight from Guangzhou to Lagos. She's calling the Nigerian authorities to hold the airline accountable.
I came in on this scooter to China, but to my surprise, they said they won't take it. This is how they treat Nigerians badly. I need the intervention of the government to please do something about this. Please, the aviation minister should take note. Nigerians are being treated badly all over the world. I'm catching up with the flight now. They refuse to take the scooter. I don't know what to do. This is Emirates Airline. In 2024, they cannot even take a scooter, which I came in from Lagos. See, I question all the aviation people to please intervene and see what they can do about it. This is very frustrating. I'm only trying to make a living. I'm trying to make a living out of my life. I don't want to be a burden to my country, Nigeria. Somebody should do something about it.
All right, Dr. Abati.
Well, Mrs. Adeyinka deserves the support
Absolutely.
of every right-thinking members of society. Internationally, even under aviation rules, persons who are physically handicapped, you know, there is provision for them to be taken care of by the various airlines. The basis for discrimination does not exist. And I think that Emirates Airlines should be called into account. And she has done a public petition, more or less, by protesting here. I think the relevant authorities should take up the matter to find out what the discrimination is all about. Is it a question of negligence on the part of the airline, or a question of incompetence, or just outright, hate, as it were? To go to the measures being taken by Mrs. Olubunmi Kuku and Festus Keyamo, I think those steps are very important. In fact, they've gone as far as saying they will regulate car hire services, mobile courts will be introduced, all these agencies at the airport, these multiple agencies must not be on the same table, where you will get to one table 1 hour. They are still searching your things. And then the more important part of it that I like is that they will now use electronic devices for searches. You see agents at the airport, they will be touching your clothes. They will be, you see men going through a woman's, personal effects. Now, the kind of madness that goes on there. And they say they will enhance lighting. Let them all do something about air conditioning, and also the dirty toilets at the airport. The whole issue here is that the airport is the gateway to the country. It's a visitor's first contact with the country. It's something that promotes the brand of the country. The kind of airport that we have, the international ones, when foreigners come into the country, it's not a good experience. No. And this idea of anything for the boys, anything for me, I mean, they don't do it in other parts of the world.
It's embarrassing.
Not even in Ghana here would they harass you. Yeah. But here, every officer, as Mrs. Kuku pointed out, says, well, they don't pay us pension, so we are trying to collect our pension. Another point that Mrs. Kuku made is that they give returns to head of agencies. Those heads of agencies who are collecting returns from the boys on the field should be identified.
Very well said, Dr. Abat. Well, kudos to Ms. Kuku and, of course, Festus Keyamo. We'll take another story now, this time in Angola, where U.S. President Joe Biden is marking his first bilateral visit to the country and meeting African leaders. Well, during one of the meetings, the U.S. president was captured in a video appearing to fall asleep while Tanzania's vice president was speaking, eliciting a wave of reactions on social media. Let's take a look.
Landlocked countries in Central Africa with already undertaking internal consultations aiming at aligning this project with national leader will not only facilitate the movement of people, goods and services, but will also promote shared prosperity and inclusive growth across the region. Tanzania is we note the progress made on the development of the Lobito corridor and commend the visionary leadership that has brought this initiative to life. And it is through such partnerships and innovations that Africa's Agenda 2063 will be realized. I thank you.
You are not good people at all. You are not good, Dr. Basi. You are not doing well. I mean, he's a human being now. He's a human being. He's 81 or 82. Let me just take it.
When Pobia was caught farting, we're laughing at African leaders. Now you're saying cutting is
all right.
Let's laugh at it.
All right, let's take our good news report. Well, all right. Before we end what's trending today, let us highlight Nigerian-American soprano Francesca Chidena, who was recently awarded the Young Talent Award for Voice in the UK Critics Circle Music Awards in our Good News report.
Sleepy Joe.
Francesca Chidena is a soprano with the most amazing vocals. She began singing at a very young age. She studied at the University of Michigan and the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. She's a graduate of the J. Parker Young Artist Program at the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden. Well, in July 2024, Chidena was awarded the Young Talent Award for Voice in the 2023 UK Critics Circle Music Awards. The award, which highlights the wealth of emerging talents across the United Kingdom, was decided by a circle of 90 of the most experienced professional music critics and journalists. In the 2024-2025 season, Chidena will perform at the New Year's concert with the City of Bahrain Symphony Orchestra and will reprise her role as the soprano soloist in Crystal Pete's Light of the Passage with Royal Ballet. Wow, so beautiful. Very seldom you see a soprano from Nigeria. Congratulations, Francesca. Well, that's all I have for you guys. So what's trending today? I'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend.